All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I will introduce Chelsea today. She's going to be kind of the main speaker. I'll probably chime in a couple times and help run the Q&A later towards the end, but Chelsea's really the star of the show. She's got a lot of awesome insight prepared for all of us today on running social ads. I've seen, again, lots of people in the comments saying that I've seen a lot of beginners. I saw a couple people who say they run ads all the time. So maybe they'll have some good questions or insight for us that they can share towards the end as well. But really excited to give you some insight about Chelsea. If you want to find more customers, clients, or students via social media, Chelsea Owens is the Oozler to ask. She joined the Oozle team with a specialization in Facebook and Instagram ads, and since then she has branched out into the realm of LinkedIn and Google ads. And while she's continuing to guide clients and help them through all those ad platforms, her emphasis is definitely on social media ads. Chelsea has a history of working with both healthcare and education sectors and is adding a third industry to her expertise, which is home services. Chelsea is a BYU graduate who also continues to coach women's lacrosse. Whether on the field or working on a client's account, you'll find Chelsea has a desire to coach, strategize, and win. So without further ado, Chelsea, go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Parker. Like Parker said, I've been with Oozle for just over a year now. I do specialize in social ads, but I have been working with PPC, Google, some programmatic here and there as well, and definitely have been loving the healthcare and education sectors, and I'm getting really excited about these home services. But anyways, let's hop into this little intro to social media advertising. We're going to focus on Facebook today as well. So let's just kind of dive in. So why do we run social ads? Well, social media has become one of the largest digital audiences in our society today. Even just in the United States alone, there are about 190 million users on Facebook. And that's just for this year in 2021, and we're only in March. So that's pretty wild. The social media network is one of the greatest places to find new consumers and new customers for your businesses, and one of the most important places to collect data so that we can continue to grow our businesses and get our businesses just out there in front of more people. So today I wanted to hit 3 different sections of social media advertising. I wanted to talk about the social marketing funnel and how we at Oozle use it. I want to talk about the Facebook Ads Manager platform, kind of dive in and see how we can start creating our ads and our campaigns. And then lastly, we will dive in and talk about how we analyze our social ads and kind of figure out if they're working well, if they're not, what we need to do to pick that up. And so let's get into our social marketing funnel here. So what is the marketing funnel? Well, this is the best way that we can go about grabbing new viewers' attention and just bringing them down until they convert, right? So there are 3 sections of the funnel. There is the awareness portion. That's our top funnel. We're talking about how we want to meet new people. We want to say, hey, get to know us. Show them our brand. We want them to know who we are here. And we do this through reach and engagement campaigns. The mid-funnel section is the traffic section. This is where we want to invite people to learn more about us and see what we actually have to offer. And we do this by inviting them to visit our website, learn more about us there. And then last one is our bottom of funnel section. This is where we invite them to actually partake of our service, our product, or whatever that may be. And so we want them to convert. We want them to enjoy what we have to offer. And we do this through conversion campaigns, lead gen campaigns, sales, app downloads, you name it. So let's kind of dive in a little deeper to each of these sections. So top of the funnel campaign is our brand awareness. tactic. And so we at Oozle, we want to focus on two different types of campaigns here. The first is our reach campaign. Here we're gathering as many people as we can to build a larger audience than what we have had before. And with that larger audience, we'll be able to shuffle these people through our funnel so that by the end, they're ready to convert. And so our best practice to do this is to start with a video ad in our reach campaign. For every consumer that views a portion of our video ad, say 25% of our video, we can now put them into a video views audience. And this audience will be used later to retarget or remarket into our lower or mid-funnel campaigns later on. The second campaign that we use at the top of the funnel is the engagement campaigns on Facebook. The engagement campaign is to boost or promote organic posts that we already have on our news feeds. A boosted post is a regular post that we put money behind it so that we can now push it out to more people further than the audience that we already have. We want to promote engagement and awareness in this way of advertising. So we want to get more people interacting with our brand. We want, whether it's through likes or comments or people save our posts, any way that we can get a new consumer to interact with us, engage with us, we can then build another audience based off of that and use it again, like we will with video view ads or audiences to remarket those later down the funnel. So I want to show you guys a quick little example of a video ad that we have used in one of our reach campaigns for a client. So this is just a fun, quick, short video that hopefully grabs viewers' attention. Do you like beauty? Well, come learn more with us. We have student-focused curriculum, and then it has their website at the end. And even when it's in the ad, they'll be able to click on it and visit their website to learn even more. So now let's talk about boosting. What exactly should we be boosting? Well, we should be boosting things that are informational or informative and maybe get us to the website somehow. So below here are just a few examples of posts that we should be boosting in our engagement campaigns. These posts include video posts that'll help us be able to build those video view audiences, get those bigger, and then remarket those later down the funnel. Testimonials are great. You can consider them as user-generated content. They look more authentic and they feel more inviting and encouraging to check out your brand. Great way to get more people to be interested in your brand there. And then the third one are social or special offers. If you have a promotion going on, or say you're a school and you have a new scholarship out there, this is a great one to push out to people to get them a little more interested, a little more incentive to learn more about you. And lastly, if you guys are planning on implementing a new location, that's a great way to get people outside of the current circle you have. And they'll be more inclined to learn more about you since you might be closer to them later on. If whether it's a new store, a new school, great way to get your name out there. One thing that I do want to mention is that we don't recommend boosting posts that link to websites other than your own. Sometimes we'll post articles that we find that are related to our industry and a little educational, which is great, but there's no need to waste any budget on those posts to boost because they won't necessarily benefit us in getting people to our website. So let's talk about our mid-funnel strategy now. We've built up these broader audiences with our reach and engagement campaigns, and now it's time to shuffle those people further down the funnel by targeting those who have watched our videos or engaged with our previous ads or posts. Here we recommend utilizing Facebook's traffic campaign. We want to invite people to visit our website here, right? Learn more about us, get to know us, maybe even convert here. And so we want to use a softer call to action with these ads. Messaging such as learn more today or visit our website today. We're not necessarily asking them to buy now, just learn a little bit more about who we are and what we have to offer here. And lastly, our bottom of funnel tactic. This is where we want people to convert. This is where we want these consumers to buy or send us their information, whatever it is. And so here we're remarketing all those audiences that we've created from the upper and mid funnel campaigns. We want to hit those people who have been educated by our reach and engagement campaigns, but we also want to hit the people who took a further step of interest by clicking to our website and learning more about us that way. And as we create these ads, we want to create messaging that's a little harder call to action. So say our messaging would be like, apply today, buy online now, download our app. Because this is our end goal. We want people to convert and use our products. So now that we have talked about shuffling these consumers through our funnel, let's talk about how we actually build those audiences. So within the Facebook Business Manager, there are plenty of applications to help the advertiser optimize their advertising to the best of their ability. And one of those applications is called Audiences. And this is where you'll build those audiences to remarket and retarget to. Within Audiences, there are a few different options, and I'm going to talk about 3 of those today. The first one is the custom audiences. Within custom audiences, you also have a few options there. So I'll talk about 4 of those. The first is web traffic. We can build audiences based off of people who visit our website, who interact with different pages on our website through our Facebook pixel. The second is Facebook and Instagram engagement. People who have interacted with our pages, our profiles, our ads, all through the Instagram and Facebook platforms. The third are video audiences. We've kind of talked about these already. People who have viewed videos that are published on our Instagram and Facebook feeds or our video ads. And the last one are our customer list audiences. These are lists that Facebook allows us to upload based off of our previous or current customers. These lists must include first and last name, phone number, email address, zip codes. You can include date of birth, any information that Facebook will take in. And the more you get, the more narrow you'll be able to nail down these audiences. However, I know with the healthcare industry, being HIPAA compliant is super important. So please be cautious as you upload customer lists there so that you can stay HIPAA compliant there. Okay, so the second option that we have within the audience app are lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences take the information that we've given them from our current audiences, and they create new and similar audiences to those ones. They do this by matching the information and the behaviors of the people who are within our current audiences and finding new people who fit those same behaviors. And the last audience option that I want to talk about is the special category audiences. This audience option is to ensure equal opportunities for advertising to people within specific categories. Facebook requires these when we're advertising for employment opportunities, housing opportunities, credit opportunities, or social issues. So these audiences can all be included when we start narrowing down our targeting with geo or location targeting, detailed targeting such as demographics, psychographics, interests, you name it. So let's move on and talk about the Facebook Ads Manager platform. This is where all the magic happens. Yeah?
just jumping in here before we move on, I had a quick question for you on those audiences. If I'm someone that can only spend, let's say, $300, $400, $500 a month, probably on the lower end of budgets on social, I personally usually recommend that you really only pick about one, maybe two audiences, maybe two campaigns at that level, probably more realistically one campaign. What would you recommend out of those three audience types? Like, what would be the most effective if I don't have a lot of money to spend and I can only pick one?
If you can only pick one, I know that everyone's end goal is to get that conversion, right? But I would usually recommend picking an upper or mid funnel campaign to start with, because we still need to make sure people are being educated about who they are. If we just start with a conversion campaign, they don't know who we are. It's less likely that we are going to get the conversions that we're looking for. So I'd start with an upper or mid funnel campaign, and as we get going and maybe we're seeing more interest, we're seeing more customers that way, then we'll be more comfortable to add a little bit more budget and get that conversion campaign going.
Awesome. To tack onto that, so let's continue with that analogy. I've spent a little, I'm seeing good results. I've grown my audience. Those people that are in the upper mid funnel are slowly trickling into the bottom of the funnel, and they convert elsewhere, whether that's organically or PPC or whatever. Let's say I'm now to a point with my business that I can afford to put $2,000 a month into Facebook and Instagram ads. What's like the percentage breakdown of like, spend 10% of your budget bottom funnel, 20% middle, 30% top funnel? Those are made up numbers. What would be your recommendation if I have $2,000? What percent would you put in, or what dollar amount would you put into the top of funnel versus middle of the funnel versus bottom of the funnel?
Right. If we're just getting started, I would say try and push a little bit more of your budget to the top and mid funnel campaigns. Say make it a 60-40%. So top and middle funnel will get 60% of your budget, and your bottom of funnel will get that last 40%, or maybe even 70-30%. And as you get going, you'll be able to reallocate those budgets. But the priority is to get those audiences built at the top of the funnel campaign, so that once these people are ready to convert, we have a big enough audience to get them funneling down into the lower level campaign. And then we'll reallocate that budget into the lower level campaign so that it's being pushed out a little bit more to the big audience that we've already created.
Awesome insight. And just for those that are attending, that would be my recommendation when you take budget out of the equation and just think what you're posting. You've probably heard like the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule. It's counterintuitive. You think as a business, like, oh, I should be asking people for their business, and you're right, but you don't want to be too in their face. So the 80-20 or 90-10 rule basically states that only 10 to 20% of the content that you're posting in the first place, even if you're putting more than 20% budget towards it, like Chelsea said, a 70-30 split, you should have fairly limited content in your organic feed that's like, say, a start date. If you're a beauty school saying, here's our next start date or whatever. I know we've got some home services or allied health schools on the call as well. If you're running a business and you're always posting coupons, always saying, hey, book now for next week, or we have open slots next week or whatever, and that's all you ever post, you'll probably cause your audience to actually shrink. And so we recommend similarly that most of your content, again, that 90-10, 80-20 rule, the other side of that is 80 to 90% of your content should be those middle of the funnel, which is educating your clients, or top of funnel, which is just getting new clients with engagement pieces. I'm sure people are kind of sick of hearing about funnels from Oozle in general. We talk about them a lot, but they're important. I'll let you move on with getting into the ads manager. Let's talk about some of these. Awesome.
Well, thanks, Parker. Thanks for those questions. Let's get into Facebook Business Manager. So I kind of want to talk about the difference between what we call the front end of Facebook and the back end of Facebook. The front end of Facebook is the actual Facebook platform. This is your news feed or your business page. You can promote ads here. We can boost our posts directly from the front end of Facebook. If you've noticed, if you own a business page or manage a business page, you'll notice that there's a little blue button on your posts. It might say boost, promote, or sponsor, something like that. And so we have this option to advertise this way. However, our options are super limited if we do it from this end of Facebook and not as effective. So we totally recommend the back end of Facebook here, which is Facebook Business Manager. Business Manager allows us to completely optimize our advertising through Facebook and Instagram. We can get into more detailed targeting here, create more options for our ad creative, and we have more control over campaign organization here to make it just the way we want it to. So if we jump in, let's take a little, this is a quick little overview step by step on how we go about creating campaigns. So if we go into Ads Manager, business.facebook.com/ads manager, you'll be able to start creating your campaigns. So we'll get in, we'll create a campaign, we'll create our new ad sets, which is where we can implement our targeting, those audiences we built, managing budget, and more from there. And then the fourth step is to create our actual ad. We'll name the ad here. We'll make sure that the correct Facebook and Instagram profiles are connected, especially if you're linked to multiple in your business manager. You want to make sure that you have the correct one associated with your ad. You'll upload and change the ad creative that you have prepared for your ad. The image, maybe it's a video, ad copy, all that good stuff. And then you want to make sure that your Facebook pixel is connected and active at this level as well. And then finally, you review your ad, your campaign, and everything, and you'll publish it. So let's dive in a little bit deeper here. And we'll start off with the Ads Manager. So once you get into Ads Manager, you'll be able to view all the different campaigns that you have running. And as you can see with this example, this particular account has all sections of the funnel running. We have a boosting and engagement campaign. We have a clicks campaign, our traffic campaign, and then our lead gen campaign, which is our conversions. So let's jump in and create these new campaigns now that all of our audiences have been created. So once you get into the campaign level, a window will pop up and you'll have the options to select what campaign objective you're going for, determined by the section of the marketing funnel that you're looking to target. Oozle's recommendation for the most basic best practices here to remember are that top of a funnel, we recommend reach and engagement campaigns. Middle funnel, we recommend the traffic campaign, website visits, and bottom of funnel is your conversions. So whatever that might be. App downloads, lead generation, and conversions. So let's hop into that ad set level. It looks like, can everyone hear me? Sorry.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting a few chats that my audio is fading out a little bit. Sorry if you can't hear me, I'll try and speak up a little bit. But
we'll have the recording go out afterwards as well.
Okay. So now we're in our ad set level, and the ad set level is where we determine the logistics of running our ads. So we have several different things that we need to manage in here. The first is our budget. We have the option to set it at daily or lifetime budget here. Then we have our date range. If we want the ads to be ongoing or if we want them to end on a specific day, we can manage that as well. Include the custom audiences that we've built, or even exclude certain audiences here. We'll manage our location or geo-targeting. So we can target cities by radius, DMA locations, as well as zip codes here. And then we can get into detailed targeting. These are our demographics, so age, gender, our interests, job titles, industry, you name it. And then placements, where we want our ads to be going to, whether that's just Facebook placements or just Instagram. Maybe we want both, but we don't want them to go to specific places within those platforms, whatever it may be. However, Facebook recommends the automatic placements so that they can optimize where they believe that your ads will perform the best here. And finally, we are at the ad level. So this is where you get to actually create what your viewers are going to be seeing. So from here, this is where we talked about selecting the correct Facebook and Instagram profiles that will be showing your ad. This is your brand. You'll upload your images or your videos here, type in your ad copy, your headlines, descriptions, whatever you've prepared for the visual of the ad. And then you'll insert the website URL or landing page, whatever it is, wherever it is that you want people to go to from your ad. Oozle recommends adding UTM parameters. And if you aren't sure what UTM parameters are, they're just an extra form of tracking so that when you look into the back end of your website to see all your conversions, you can see that these conversions have come from your Facebook ads. And lastly, you'll want to make sure that your pixel is connected and active, of course, so that we can track these conversions or these clicks and whatever. And then the very last step, review everything, make sure your budget is where you want it, your date, placements, targeting, make sure that your ad copy is looking like what you want it, and then you'll publish. And now you're running ads on Facebook. And so there's one last step, of course. You have your ads up, that's great, but now we need to analyze what these ads are doing and how they're looking. So let's kind of dive in and determine what metrics we want to look at and what they mean. And so let's get in here. What are you looking at? Well, we can take a look at your advertising metrics from any level within the platform, campaign level, ad set level, or ad level. However, Facebook is making some changes here. And so within the next few months, you'll be able to see most of your performance metrics within the ad set level or the ad level. So when looking at performance, we have a few options to compare our performance, our metrics. We can compare it year over year, month over month, maybe period over period, whatever it is that you decide. But as we are analyzing, we need to ask ourselves just a few questions. Are things looking good? Are our results increasing? Is our cost per result decreasing? Are things looking good? Or things looking bad? And so on this slide, I just have a few metrics that are fairly basic, but pretty telling on how our ads are performing. We can take a look at how many clicks per month we're getting, clicks per year, maybe, impressions, how many landing page views are we getting? What about our conversions? Are we getting more conversions that we did last month? And then what's our cost per result looking like? Is the cost going down? Is it going up? How are things looking? And so after we've taken a look at these things, and we want to check in every few months, weeks, days, depending on your business or industry, we want to look into even more depth here. If things are looking good, let's make them look even better. Or if they're looking like things have tanked or plateaued, how can we improve that? So I want to talk about 4 quick options that we can look at to optimize and improve our performance. The first is our audiences. Do our audiences align with the strategy that we're at? Are we running the right audiences in the right sections of the funnels? Are we remarketing? Do we need to update our customer lists? Is our data too old? Do we need to update that? The second is our targeting. Are we targeting in all the right cities, all the right zip codes? Are we targeting in places that is wasting our time and money? Do we need to exclude there? Can we involve detailed targeting here? And the next is placement. Are we running our ads to all the places that will be beneficial for us? Or are we wasting our time in places that it's not beneficial for us? Should we exclude some of those placements? And then the last one is the ad creative. Are our ads resonating with our viewers? How long has this ad been running for? Has it been running longer than a few months? Is it time to change it out? Maybe for you schools, are we updating our start dates monthly or every period whenever you have that next start date? Can we implement new video in other sections of the funnel besides the top of the funnel? And is it something that the viewer wants to stop at and look at? These are all great questions to consider when we're looking to improve our ads. And all of these things will give us the options to A/B test. We can A/B test audiences, we can A/B test geo-targeting and placement. We can A/B test even just a change of an ad creative, keeping that image the same, changing ad creative, changing headlines, whatever it may be. But that's the best way that we can optimize for our businesses. But that's all I have today for you guys. And so I believe that we have some questions. Is that right, Parker?
We do. We've got a couple of great questions coming in. And again, if you didn't see my chat earlier to the group, go ahead and put your questions in the chat if you've got them. We've got some time right now. We'll answer as many as we can, or we can connect after the call if there's a question that we're unable to get to. But throw your questions in the chat and we will dig into the weeds and answer some in-depth questions or as high-level questions as you want to go into, time provided. The first question that we got, Chelsea, is what kind of monthly budget would you suggest for a small local company that only serves a small area?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need too large of a budget there. I have seen people spend a lot of money in smaller areas and they do fairly well. But if you're in a small area, you can start at a minimum budget of $500. That's where I recommend starting. You can go a little lower if you want, but Facebook will, with the $500 budget, that's probably optimal for getting the most of what you want.
Chelsea, to add to that, just from a more holistic standpoint, going above social ads specifically, I think a $500 a month budget is a great place to start. Put most of that, like Chelsea said earlier, if not all of that, in top and middle of the funnel content, stuff that's engaging, videos, stuff that people really are to be attracted to and look at, just so they get to know your company, right? You're not trying to win them over. You don't ask for marriage on the first date. It's kind of the analogy I always use. And then I would say, especially if you're a small company, put whatever other marketing budget you have into PPC. If you can only do $500, $1,000, and do more of your, and do search ads there, do a little bit more bottom of the funnel, keep your bottom of the funnel campaigns on Google Ads. And by having Google Ads, that I would say probably the most successful clients at any market level or any budget level have a combination of social ads and Google Ads. And when I say social ads, I mean spending mostly on Facebook or Instagram. Great question. And then we did have a question from Summer earlier. She said, we are a tiny school. Do you have an app or tool you recommend to create video ad content?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe Canva is a good one that we use at Oozle. It's free. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can create a free account. And that is fairly user-friendly. I'm not much of a designer myself, but it's pretty user-friendly and good to use for video ads if you're just getting started.
And I did just put a link out to Canva. It's not an affiliate link. We're not sponsored by Canva or anything, but that is what our content writers use who are also not designers to create easy, accessible videos. They have a lot of great templates and they allow you to make it in several different file formats too, or aspect ratios. So that way Instagram stories where they're vertical, right? Or if you were running Snapchat ads, for example, you would probably want a vertical video. You can create that in Canva and then also create a landscape version of that as well. So great question. Let's see, we got a lot of questions popping in. How much should I let my upper funnel campaigns gain traction before setting up the next layer down?
That's a good question. I usually suggest maybe like a month or two to let those audiences build up the most that you can. And then you can start trickling those people down the funnel to convert. a month or two at most.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, we had a question that was, at what point do you know you're ready to move from top of the funnel? Are there any indicators that you would look for that you know you're ready to move from top of the funnel and bottom of the funnel to, excuse me, at what point do you know you're ready to move from top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel ads?
Kind of like what we talked about, looking at our different performance metrics. Are your cost per clicks kind of going down from week to week, or your cost per your CPMs, are those going down as well? But typically, a month to 2 months is a good time frame. But if you're looking to kind of look at your metrics, watch those things there, maybe your video views or people actually watching your videos, and you can kind of get a feel for that there.
Awesome. Another question, I think this is a great question. Karen asked, how can we get a contact form on the ad? I think she's talking about lead ads.
Oh, yes. So if you notice before, when we go in to look at our campaigns, if we're going in to build our campaigns, there is an option for lead generation. And that's the campaign type that will allow us to build those contact forms if we're looking to get contact information from new consumers or potential customers. You can build those to however you want. You can ask them, say you're a school and you want them to, it's a lead, right? So they'll give you their full name, their email address, your phone number, and you can even give them the option to decide which program they're the most interested in. So cosmetology or aesthetics, barbering, you name it.
Awesome. And just as a note on those lead ads, they're very popular right now. In the past, what we've had experiences, and I know that it's ever changing and it might not still be the case, but anecdotally, it feels like those lead ads, because it's very low barrier to entry. You don't have to leave Facebook. You don't have to leave Instagram. Some of your information is already auto-filled by the platform on some of those forms. And so it's very easy to just hit submit and go forward. That means because the barrier to entry is so low, it's likely that you're going to get more leads, but the quality is likely to go down. So if you're used to getting leads coming in through your website that say convert to a sale or lead to an enrollment at a 10 or 15% rate, you could expect like a 2 to 5 or 6% rate through lead ads, generally speaking.
Yes.
And so just note that, yes, it might be a great way to use lead ads to increase the number of leads you're getting, but it may not have a general increase on your general sales outcomes as opposed to just sending them directly to your website. It just means your admissions team or your sales team is having to do more follow-up.
Right.
I've gotten a question in here twice, so this is something we should definitely answer here. What's the difference between boosting a post versus running ads? And if you have a small budget, which one would you recommend? Would you recommend setting up the campaigns and all that, or just boosting?
I would still,
the difference?
Right. I would still recommend setting up actual campaigns with a smaller budget. This is just going to give you that much more options of targeting and building audiences. Building audiences doesn't necessarily cost that much more. And if you're boosting on the front end of Facebook, you don't have as much control of where your ad is going to be pushed out to. So I definitely recommend going in and creating a real ad that way, or at least creating a campaign with better targeting, even if you are deciding to just boost posts. Within the Ads Manager campaign, you have multiple options for your ad creative. Single images, carousel ads, videos, some things that we didn't really get into today. You have so many options in there, and I highly, highly recommend doing it that way.
Awesome. We've got another question. We've got basically 3 questions left. We've got time to probably answer all of them. So we'll leave it to the questions that are in here now. If you do have any additional questions that come in later, we'll connect with you one-on-one. But we've got one question that says, do you think SEM is more important than SEO? Chelsea, are you okay if I answer that one?
Yes, please do.
Awesome. Elisa, I don't want to mispronounce your name, but that is a great question. The difference between SEM and SEO, for those that are unfamiliar, SEM is more of that paid search. So what we're talking about right now, putting money behind posts on social, that would also include running ads on Google or even being YouTube ads, display ads, things of that nature, where SEO is things like content creation, making sure that your titles and metas are correct, setting up your Google My Business, kind of all of that. And it's hard to say which is more or less important because they're so different. It's just it's a different approach. SEO, I would think about as your long-term strategy or long-term investment. That's your SEO is like your like a retirement account almost, and your SEM is your stock portfolio or whatever the analogy is that you want to use. SEO you need to be doing because your year-over-year results are going to be affected as you create better content or put out blogs. You might not see 10 leads come in from a blog you published today, like 10 leads today come in as a result of those 10 leads, where you might see 10 leads come in as a result of $100 spent today on SEM. So you want to slowly build up that domain authority, slowly build up your results on SEO, and be okay with the fact that yes, 4, 5, 6 months down the road is the first time you start seeing those incremental impacts of a strong SEO foundation. And that can be a hard pill to swallow for small businesses who need, or where it feels like they need results tomorrow. The thing is, it pays dividends in the end. It's like I said, it's that retirement account you can live off of for a long time. When finances really do get tough, you can live off of for a long time the efforts and results of your previous SEO investments. Unlike SEM, where if you invest tomorrow, but you stop investing the next day, the rewards of that investment are done then and there when you stop spending. So SEM is a short-term strategy. Well, it's one that you should be doing in perpetuity, but it's to get results quickly, and it will have the best results, the lowest cost per lead, by being supplemented with SEO. So I would say do both. If I were a business and I had to choose between one, I would start with SEM, and then so paid ads, paid search, and then I would reinvest those marketing dollars that I get as a result of that SEM into SEO. And that's how I would approach that. Okay, Chelsea, we'll pass it back to you with this question. We've got Whitney, former Oozler, I believe, Whitney Rogers. She said, I have a question. When you want to improve, do you suggest going in order? For example, change audiences would be the first thing to change, or is it kind of up to your discernment on what you would change when something's not working? Like, what's the first thing you're going to temp check and change when something's not working?
That's a good question. I think it's kind of depends on just your business and maybe the industry you're in. I like to look at audiences first for myself. Just make sure that my audiences are up to date and I'm not using customer lists that are older. But also I usually will go audiences and then check my ad creative. Ad creative is a huge, huge thing that will either hinder your performance or improve it. So that would be maybe just switch up one piece of the ad copy, or maybe just the headline, or completely change out the ad creative altogether. That's how I would go about it. But yes, it is kind of up to you in a way. Just watching and seeing how things have been going thus far. And then kind of going in and breaking down the different pieces of your campaign and seeing, okay, what am I missing in specific places? And then I would A/B test those. Make sure that the change that you are making is the right change, and see that you are making improvements there before you completely switch it over.
Awesome. And then we'll answer this last question. We do have actually a pretty easy question, so we'll answer that right now. Someone said, when a post says sponsored, is that an actual ad or a boost? The answer is either whether you're running it, if you're putting any money behind it, it'll be sponsored. So that's a pretty easy one to answer. But I think this next one will be our last question for the day that we have time to answer. And then we've got kind of a little bit of an announcement after that, and then we'll call it a day. But this is Elisa again. She says, I've heard varying opinions on how accurate geographic targeting is. Do you believe that targeting by specific zip or postal code is accurate if you're trying to only target a small radius, say of only 5 miles?
Yes. So I think it depends on what your business is and where you're located. Everyone's going to be different. It's not going to be the same. And so I would recommend testing against each other at first, and that will help you figure out if zip codes are the better way to go for you or if a radius is. And I've done this with several clients before where we start off with a radius in a smaller area and it's not working so well. And so then we ask the client to send us a few zip codes for that area that have maybe give them the higher sales, you know? And so then we'll test them against each other, and that will help us to kind of understand what is working best for that business in particular. So it could go either way, but it just depends on your specific business.
Awesome. Okay. You want to advance the slide? I think you have one more slide that just has your contact information. If anybody wants to get in touch with Chelsea directly, you can reach her at cowens@oozlemedia.com. There's also a phone number you can dial there if you want to get in touch with our business development team. We've also got our executive staff or director levels that are willing to do a 1-hour free business consultation with anyone who's interested. So you can reach out to Chelsea, let her know you're interested with that, and we can get you access or time to meet. We can kind of consult for an hour, go through your business numbers, get you some good insight. And I know that we had a lot of beauty schools on the call today, and I don't mean to alienate anybody else who's on this call, but I did want to shout out or make an announcement. April 22nd at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. It's actually a whole day event all the way until 4:30. There is a beauty summit for beauty school owners and beauty school staff. We will be having a lot of speakers, a great day. I think there's 14 different sessions, loads of 20-minute sessions, high impact. They're all going to be filled with tips and tricks on how to grow your business as a beauty school. We've got Wynn Claybaugh speaking, founder of Paul Mitchell Schools. We've got Jim Petrello from Aveda South, Dwayne Morris, Lightheart Sanders, Pivot Point, Milady, loads of speakers, all sorts of different industry names that I'm sure you all recognize on this call. Again, you can register right here at the link. Stephanie just threw a link in the chat. You can register to stay up to date on the latest and kind of what that entails there. You'll just fill out a form. You'll get a Zoom link. You can get it on your calendar. Again, that's April 22nd. It's going to be a great day full of giveaways as well. Oozle Media is giving away a free website valued at $8,400. And other vendors are giving away, I think Pivot Point is giving away some mannequins. We've got Beauty as a Business giving away some free seats to students. So definitely join us for that. Thank you again, Chelsea, for your time. And to everyone that participated today, thank you. A replay will be going out via email and up on our blog within the days to come. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.